Child's Play 3. Child's Play 3 is directed by Jack Bender and stars Brad Dourif reprising his voice role as Chucky once again, and Justin Whalin, Jeremy Sylvers, I think that's how you say his name, Travis Fine. And before this review, I have never seen the third movie before. I have seen Bride and Seed of Chucky and Curse and Cult and the original two Child's Play movies. But for some reason, I never watched the third movie up until this review. I only watched it for the first time last night. But yeah, before last night, I have never seen Child's Play 3. It's just like I always blocked it out. I think I never liked the whole idea of it being in a military. I think I heard just like so much hate going around like online. People were saying that this is the worst of the original trilogy. And yeah, I feel like just the whole military thing, I feel like that was kind of like backing why I was not watching it. But anyways, now that I have seen it, what are my thoughts? Did I like it just as much as the first two? Is it worse? Let's get into it. So yeah, let's get straight into the likes. And the first like is Chucky. Chucky gives some of the best lines in this third movie. There's the iconic line, "Don't F with the Chuck," and "This means war." Like some of the most memorable lines in the entire franchise to me. I mean, the "Don't F with the Chuck" is probably the most iconic one that people I think always reference when they hear Chucky. That's probably the main thing I hear people say is the "Don't F with the Chuck" thing. That is great. Like the scene it's used in, that is perfection actually. So yeah, let's move on to the second thing I like, and that is the military. I thought going into Child's Play 3 I was going to hate the military story, but I actually kind of like it. It shows more of Andy's character and develops on him, and there were some cool scenes that took place in the military, like the first scene where they're all standing in a line, and Shelton is yelling at Andy and telling Kristen to do 20 push-ups. I liked that scene. I liked, but I feel like just the setting, it doesn't suit a Chucky film. It just feels weird. Like I like how they're trying something new and different, but it just doesn't work. But there were some cool scenes, and I expected hate on this film. So yeah, I expected to really hate the military, but I feel like it's just, I suppose like that, like it's kind of like a like and a dislike in the same kind of sentence, I guess, because at some time it's just like military. It's a very unusual setting for a slasher movie, especially a Chucky movie, because Chucky's more of the character that he's more of just a home invasion kind of guy. He's the doll that you would give to a kid, and then it would be that kind of like it would have the same formula as the first two movies. It would be based in a home, but luckily we've got Curse of Chucky that kind of reprised that brought us back to the original two Chucky movies, so that's good. But I mean, I appreciate the direction that they kind of took. That they actually had the balls to do something different with this third movie, and they're like, nope, we're going to do something different. We're not just going to make the same old two movies that we got. We're going to do something different. We're going to make it based at the military. And the military scene, like I said, it did make for some cool scenes, like the first scene where they're all standing in a line. Like that scene, I liked, and it's Andy's like first day. I like that. And the first 20 minutes of the movie, I like when it's all kind of like Chucky and he's in that office and all that, and like the Chucky doll. It's like the first lot doll or something. But yeah, I like the first 20 minutes because it actually feels like the original two kind of Child's Play. So yeah, the third thing I like is Justin Whalin and Perry Reeves' performance. Alex Vincent didn't return for this third movie, so instead we have Justin Whalin playing a 16-year-old Andy who is now in the military, and I didn't hate this guy's performance. I mean, he's not as good as Alex Vincent. He doesn't have the charm, he doesn't have the presence that Alex Vincent had, but I think for what he had to do, I think as a 16-year-old in the military, I think he actually did pretty good, and there is actually a progression of Andy's character in this third movie. So when he first gets in the military, he's a little bit nervous, but he gets more confident as the movie kind of goes along, and I kind of like that. But yeah, Justin Whalin, he does fine. And then we have Perry Reeves, who plays Andy's love interest in this. And I liked her character. She has kind of an attitude. She's kind of this person that doesn't take bullshit from her boss. She's that kind of character. She has an attitude and all that. I liked her character, but yeah, she was cool. And the other actors in this film were all over the top and didn't really impress me. No one really, no one really like gives like that great of a performance. Everybody is kind of just there for the paycheck, and that's kind of it. One character I did like is the kid in this that Chucky. He's not after Andy now. The other kid, I don't know his name, but all the other actors they just look like they're there for the paycheck, and then that's all. No one really gives that great of a performance. Even Jeremy Whalin is not that great in this movie. I mean, he's fine for what he has to do for a 16-year-old Andy and all that. And I didn't have really any expectations going in really because I was like because I knew Alex Vincent he didn't reprise his role as Andy in this one. But yeah, I think for what Justin Whalen offered to the character, I would say he did a fine job. Actually, I bought his character. There was a progression of his character. I thought his performance was actually okay in this. I did not hate it. Same with Perry Reeves. Her character, she has an attitude. She doesn't want to take bullshit from her boss. She's that kind of character, and yeah, I thought her character was cool. So let's move on to the fourth thing that I like, and the fourth thing that I like is I like how this one it's a direct continuation from where Child's Play 2 left off. When this one opens, it's in the factory, and you see and people picking up Chucky's body, leftovers, and I like that because at least this third movie doesn't say second movie never exists. This is a new Chucky movie. It's still connected to the second movie in a way. At least the first couple of minutes are connected. There is a point where it kind of loses track and kind of goes in a very different direction to the second one, but at least this one still says that Chucky 2 is a film, and it's still and Chucky 3 it's still part of it's still a continuation of that story that happened in Child's Play 2. It's like a kind of continuation at where Andy is at right now in his life, and he's in the military. He's playing a 16-year-old. He's in the military. He's on his first day. He's a little bit nervous, and then like as he goes along, he gets like new friends. He gets a bit more confidence in him, and yeah. So anyways, let's move on to the fifth thing I like, and that is the third act. It takes place at a theme park, and it builds up to this roller coaster ride that looks like it's a ride from hell. And the name of the ride was actually like Devil's Lair or something. And just the setting of that theme park was great. And I think that was a third act a Chucky movie needed, and it made for some great scenes, like a graphic Chucky kill, like Chucky, he's on top of this, he's on top of this like skeleton thing, and he falls off, and he goes to fall van, there's all blood, guts, and everything. Great death, really graphic Chucky kill right there. I mean, this third act, it's not as great as Child's Play 2. That's gonna be hard to beat. Like that Child's Play 2 ending, it's up there for sure. And this one, it doesn't beat it, but it doesn't beat the Child's Play 2 ending, but I can certainly say it's still a fun third act. It's not like as good as what I still think the Chucky's death in Child's Play 2 is better than the one in this, but I feel like the one in this it's a lot more graphic and all that. Even though the one in Chucky 2 that was actually pretty graphic as well. But anyways, and then there's also another scene where Chucky gets half of his face sliced off, and the practical effects on that scene are fantastic. And kind of like I said before, is this third act can't beat Child's Play 2, because that's a hard third act to beat. But as for a third movie, it had a cool climax, it had a cool third act, and in a theme park, which I always feel like theme parks, I don't know, they bring to some excitement to the movie, and it's a very different setting. And I feel like the theme park, it actually suits the third movie. Like I said, it's not only a Child's Play 2 ending, but it's still actually a pretty good climax, a pretty good third act. So yeah, they are all my likes. Now let's move on to what I didn't like. Alright, so the first thing I didn't like is Child's Play 3. It portrays what the first two movies taught you. In order for Chucky to transfer his soul to another body. He has to find the first person he revealed himself to, and that is Andy in the first movie. And in this, it's like a totally different person. It's like Chucky has completely given up on Andy because it's impossible to trick Andy. Now it's like Chucky has just given up and he's like moving on to a different person, which it totally like obeys, and it betrays what the first two movies taught you. Like, that's the child's play law. Is Chucky has to, in order for him to transfer his soul, he has to find the first person he revealed himself to as this doll, and that was Chucky. And I mean that was Andy. And in this, it's like a totally different kid. It's like, oh, I did not like how they did that. I felt like it just disobeys a child's play law there. Not only does Child's Play 3 betray the first two Child's Play movies, it also betrays the franchise as well. And just goes in such a weird direction from the first two movies, and just like the whole setting of this military, like I said, it just doesn't fit a Child's Play movie. It just doesn't fit a Chucky film. But anyways, I don't know. I just did not like that because it's like the changing the Child's Play law, and like that's basic Child's Play law. That's basic Chucky law right there. So he has to find, in order, like I said, in order to transfer his soul, he has to find the first person he revealed himself to as this doll, and that was Andy. I respect how they're actually going in a different direction, and it's like it's not always the whole Chucky and Andy thing. Even though that's what made the first two Chucky movies so great. Is their connection, just how like Chucky's always failing to get Andy and all that. That's kind of what made the first two, and the character spots in that movie, and like and how this movie is actually character driven stories, and just it's the progression of the character. But I mean, I respect how they actually went in a direction where they actually, which Chucky's after a new soul now, and it's not after Andy, but at the same time it obeys the Child's Play franchise a lot. And I did not like that do it, but I respect them for at least trying something different, for at least having the balls to at least do something different with this third movie. So yeah, I didn't like how Child's Play it obeys Child's Play law, and it obeys how Chucky has to transfer his soul to another body. He has to find the first person. I hate that, because we knew that from like the first movie, and then in this third movie, it's like it just totally forgets about that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't understand that. I don't like it, because that's basic Child Play law right there. But anyways, let's move on to the second thing I like, and that is Chucky's lines. Some of his lines, this is how I say this. Chucky's lines. Some of his lines are not what Chucky would say. And just the way he kind of says his lines are just. There's actually a line where he uses the word bro in it, and I'm like, no, that Chucky would never say that. And this third movie, this was actually the first Chucky movie to actually really head into that comedic tone that Seed and Bride were going into. Like those two movies, like they just stand up comedies. But this one, it kind of starts to build up to those comedic movies, and this one probably has like the most one-liners Chucky has. And yeah, some of Chucky's lines, I can't imagine Chucky saying them. I mean, from what we learned about Chucky in the first two movies and him coming over to this third movie, I just can't see him like saying these type of lines. I mean, there are some lines in this movie that are absolutely great, like like the "this means war" and the "don't f with the Chuck." Iconic line right there. But there's just other lines where it just feels so awkward for Chucky to be saying them. Do you know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, some of Chucky's lines, like I said, some of them are actually really iconic, some of them are really great, but then there's some others that aren't so good. So yeah. So anyways, let's move on to the third thing that I didn't like, and that is the script. There's so many poorly written scenes in this. Like Chucky says lines that Chucky would never say. Like I mean, lines like "Don't f with the Chuck" are good, but then there's just some of the dialogue choices are strange. Like for example, I used this example before where Chucky says "bro," and that's just like a very unusual thing for Chucky to say, but Yeah, no, this is just like those kind of lines. It's just like a lot of weird dialogue, a lot of strange, I guess, dialogue choices in this third movie. But anyways, and also this film it did not feel as well put together or much care was put into it as the first two Chucky films. Like putting Chucky in a military camp felt very weird. There's just really weird decisions put into this film. You just want Shelton to die from the moment he's on the screen because he's like the asshole character of this film. Shelton, like, trust me, if he's probably one of the most annoying like characters in a horror slasher. Just the way he speaks is just so, I don't know, but yeah, Shelton, he's the asshole character of this movie. Yeah, and you just want him to die. And the animatronics are not great in some scenes either. I mean, there's a couple scenes with Chucky that that animatronics looked off compared to the first two guys. For like the first two Chucky movies, they put more effort into the animatronics than this third movie. But I mean, there's some scenes where the animatronics are actually great in this third movie. There are actually some scenes. I'll probably say there are some scenes in the third act that look quite great. There's a couple of scenes in the first act where the animatronics look very off, but just like Chucky, there's not much effort put into Chucky in this film as it was in the first two. I don't know. It's just this was like so I watched this for the first time last night. And I was open to anything, but I feel like just being a fan of the first two Child's Play movies, I feel like it disobeys so much from what you learned in those two Child's Play movies, and it might look like I'm hating on it, but there are some decent things in it, like the opening scene, like probably like the first 20 minutes I love. When it gets to military camp, there are still like entertaining scenes in that section of the movie, but it just feels so off, just like the location, the setting, and just the script, the tone. It just feels so off. This is not a usual Chucky movie, but yeah, Brad Dourif, he is still awesome. Brad Dourif, he makes every single scene he is in. Like Brad Dourif, he makes Chucky. I cannot see anyone else, but I think just Chucky just as a standalone character, just forget his dialogue in this. Like I said, he does say some weird dialogue, but you just completely forget about that now. But I think this Chucky as just like a standalone slasher, like just him as like just a standalone slasher icon. I think he was good in this. I think he has a he has a sinister laugh in this. And as far as also one thing I did forget to talk about in this review is the deaths. Um, this one, I mean, there are definitely some graphic deaths. There's a hairdresser scene that's I guess pretty graphic. Um, like so this one it mainly focuses on the comedic thing. It's more comedic, and this one has like put like the most Chucky one-liners out of the original Child's Play trilogy. Like also another thing I just did not like. This review's come all over the place. Sorry about that. But another thing I did not like is the comedy. The comedy did not work in this. I did not laugh once. I was just like at points the comedy was actually awkward. Actually, it was embarrassing almost. It's just like yeah, I just did not laugh once. It's yeah, no, it might sound like I'm hating Child's Play 3, but truth is, I mean, I think for what a third movie could be, I think it's okay, but I feel like this movie was it was just rushed. Like it just did not feel as much care with the location. I mean, I respect what they were trying to do. I respect the direction they were kind of taking because they're trying to change up stuff that the first two movies did. They're trying to do something new with it. They're trying to take the direction in a new way. I mean, I respect that 100%. I mean, I respect that. I mean, I respect how it's based out of military, and I like how they're kind of changing, and how they're kind of changing him up and all that. I mean, like I like it. Okay. And I respect how Chuck is after a new victim this time. He's not after Andy. But at the same time, I guess he's kind of after two people in this. But I mean, I respect that the direction they take. I guess what really made this movie for me was, I guess, that third act at the theme park. I guess that was a setting that worked so well for the third movie. I just like the whole setting of a theme park. I feel like horror movies that take place at a theme park are some of the best locations. But yeah, we are done with the original Child's Play franchise, and my first reaction to Child's Play 3 was after I finished watching it for the first time last night. My first reaction was, this is very weird. Like that was my reaction. It's like this is not the same. It's very different in script, direction, in tone as the first two movies. But yeah, I mean, it's okay for what a third movie could be in a franchise. But anyways, but yeah, we are done with the original Child's Play franchise. We have reviewed the original three. It's time to move on to like Seed and Bride and Cult of Chucky. Like I said in my first review of Child's Play, I will be going back and rewatching Curses if my thoughts have changed. Maybe I like that a little bit more. Maybe I don't like that. Maybe one of my likes I add a dislike now. And that's kind of like also coming to play with Child's Play 3 now as well. I'm kind of setting myself up for little points here. But I can see myself. I can see when I'm older, my thoughts will definitely change on this. I guess from just a first watch, this is just kind of like my first reaction, my first thoughts. But I can see, as I get older, I can see myself respecting more things and just kind of noticing more things. And plus, as I get older, my thoughts do change on movies, and my taste of movie film does change. So yeah, I think my thoughts for this, they won't all stay the same. I can see the opening scene one staying the same because that is a great opening scene. I guess about the first 20 minutes is actually great. My thoughts might change on Justin Whalin and Perry Reeves maybe. Even though I really liked them. In this third movie for what I watched last night. I liked the portrayal. But yeah, this is definitely a movie that my thoughts are going to change on for sure. But anyways, guys, yeah, like I said, we have done the original Child's Play franchise. We are done reviewing the original three times to move on to Seed and Bride and Cult of Chucky, and then in June we'll be reviewing the Child's Play remake, which I'm actually not sure if that's actually coming straight to like DVD or straight to like VOD, or if it's actually going to cinemas. I'm actually not sure. I haven't really heard that much about it. I've seen a couple of on-set photos. I've seen that poster that is freaking like gorgeous. That poster. The poster kind of gives off a little bit of a tone for the movie. But anyways, if you do know, let me know if the Child's Play remake is like a straight to VOD or a straight to DVD movie. I might research it after I finish recording this review, maybe. But anyways, guys, yeah, like I said before, we have done the Child's Play Child's Play franchise, the first original three movies, of course. We still have Seed and Bride and Cult to go through. But anyways, guys, yeah, until then, I will see you guys next time.